All right. All right. All right. All right. No fancy intros, no elaborate build up. We are live. John Lees, Tyler James, Joe Mulvey will hopefully join us soon. But this is the Grawlgore and Shanks numbers 1 and 2 live stream. What's going on, John? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Obviously fuming at Joe Mulvey's diva entrance coming in late just to really shows up. Like it's not a party till Joe gets here.
It's not a party until Joe gets here. Usually he'll jump in casually late, but with a story to match. But yeah, while we're here, we're just we like to do these during Kickstarter campaigns when we can. And speak of the freaking devil, there he is, Joseph Mulvey.
Speak of the evil and shall show up. There you go.
The best in the biz. What's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm calling you. Can you hear me, guys? I'm calling from the dome, the heat dome that is coming down in New York right now. That is the weather term for it. It is a dome of heat. It's really great. I've never heard of it in all my life.
Yeah, you is like a little bit of a heat wave coming through. A lot of summer camps getting shut down a little bit early, and apparently the AC is not up to the task today, Joe.
Thank God mine is. I'm not saying a word about anything else, but why you don't need a grill. You just go cook out on the sidewalk. It's great. It's great.
Nice. Well, yeah, we just got started here and just opened things up, but we want to thank everybody that's already supported the Kickstarter. Over 217 backers now, 55 hours to go for the 1 and 2 live stream. We're just going to be hanging out for a little bit. This is, we selfishly like to do these live streams because while we'll have ongoing discussions about books and projects throughout the week, asynchronously via messenger or email, these live streams are like the rare time where we get on in real time and see each other's beautiful smiling faces. And,
because I've not been to American shows in a while, it feels like it's my Joe and Tyler fix is these conversations we get to have.
Absolutely.
John, when are you going to come back to the Jolly States? When is going to be the time that it finally happens?
Maybe sometime after 2028.
After
I don't know. Yeah,
John's gonna have to clean up his social media feed.
Yeah, no. Basically, I'm worried. Like, I'm going to get like into like JFK. And like, they're gonna have like, someone like ice at gunpoint going for someone say, I see that you called Donald Trump a cunt on the 25th of April, 2023.
Dude, if that's what he went after, it would be insane. It would be insane. You got to go bigger now. It's like, that's small beans.
I see on June 2023 you said it'll be lit when he dies.
It'll be lit. It's okay. He doesn't know what that means.
Honestly, John getting banned from the States would probably be one of the best things that we could do to promote Grawlgore and Shanks.
No, that's going to be the new market.
That'd be huge. That would. It would be gigantic. But I know that the real reason is because of hotel prices. So let's just be honest about what it is. Inflation has hit hard.
A sleeping bag, Joe, and you'll be like,
"Oh, you're here. We have the Lee Suite set up at a constant. It's an entire room. We don't even touch it."
No, yeah, I've been missing.
Well, I will say, John, there's probably not a better time for a Scotsman to come to the United States right now. The Scottish have taken the world over with the World Cup.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. Like, especially I live in New York. It is like World Cup runneth over. Like, we know people who own like bars, restaurants, like pubs and all that stuff. And people are going nuts with how many people from different cultures are coming. And it's so fun to hear people being like, oh my God, the Swedes invaded last night and it was amazing. And like the Scots are like beloved right now when they come out, like beloved.
I'm not a big football guy or soccer guy for our American friends, but like I've loved all the coverage of the Tartan Army, like Spawn over America and all the kind of stories, and they've been very good ambassadors for Scotland. Although, like, and it's quite funny, my cousin, he is currently on a trip to Boston, nothing to do with the World Cup. He just like booked to go like this week, and he's been getting the pure VIP treatment as like a Scot, like because he made such a good impression. And I must say, it's a proud New Yorker, Joe. Does it kind of like rankle you to see all these people saying, "Oh, the people of Boston are so lovely, they're so great"?
No. It's because it's like if you go to someone, if you go to some real ass, like I'm sure if you met the worst person in the world and you only met him once, maybe it's not that bad. It's like that with Boston. So Boston is like, yeah, you're gonna go there, and the bad people are gonna, look like they're less bad. I get it. It's okay. But maybe you want to come to a place, I don't know, that's won a basketball championship recently. I'm not trying to throw any shade, but the New York Knicks did just win the whole world championship. We do have a better area, but no matter what, I mean, maybe it's just my inner Celtic pride, but hearing so many bars say that they were sold out of beer and sold out of things like that, that's impressive.
Hi,
Yeah,
Ryan.
absolutely.
Hi, Peter. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Welcome to everybody that is tuning in. We are live here streaming on Facebook for this one on the Comics Tribe Facebook. Last minute stream that we pulled together. But John, like just to keep things topical and sell some books here, the latest double-sized issue of Grawlgore and Shanks, 2 adventures. What's something that you want to let the world know about this series that is currently live on Kickstarter for a few more days?
I guess the thing would be how much I love this story and I love this world. Grawlgore and Shanks, for those who don't know, who've just happened to stumble upon this stream accidentally and I go, what the hell is this? What are comics? Like Grawlgore and Shanks is a mashup of high fantasy and procedural mystery. We've been saying like it's like Knives Out meets Lord of the Rings. It's about a traveling dwarf tailor and his surly orc steward companion who travel from town to town and village to village in this fantasy landscape, peddling their wares, and they get caught up in various crimes and mysteries that they have to solve, like a pair of prototypical private detectives. And this is something that I've been developing for some time. I remember I came up with the idea and I was like, oh, I love this concept so much. And I actually like started just writing scripts because it was like bugging me. Like, and I wrote a whole batch of scripts before like I'd even pitched it anywhere. And
were those the prose scripts, John, or were those just full comic scripts?
Like the actual scripts, like, obviously they got redrafted with the passage of time, but the scripts that became the comic. Yeah. So I wrote these comic scripts on spec just for like my own like amusement, the gratification. And I was like, these are some of my most favorite things I've ever written. And it's kind of unusual because Grawlgore and Shanks is like somewhat outside of my normal wheelhouse. I'm known as the horror guy. And even though like some of my horror stuff has got a little bit more like funny or comedic or genre spiced in places more recently, it's a fantasy still like a big leap outside of it. So like I know like I have a big fan base for Sync who might be like, oh, if I like Sync, will I still like Grawlgore and Shanks? And there is some thematic DNA in comparison with like Sync and Grawlgore and Shanks, because Grawlgore and Shanks is also an episodic kind of anthology style. Each story is a standalone adventure, which is set as part of a larger world in a similar format to Sync. But also, I think like it's very character focused. Like I always like to think Sync is, like where the characters are kind of what shape it all. And I think that Vaughn and Arlog, that's our main characters, Vaughn, Grawlgore, and Arlog Shanks, are 2 of like my favorite characters I've ever been involved in writing. And of course, there's advantage that both books are drawn by like my favorite artists, whether it be Alex on Sync or Joe Mulvey here with Grawlgore and Shanks. And I'm really excited because there's nothing more joyful than like getting to tell stories with your friends. That's what comics is all about. So getting to do this with Joe like has been really gratifying. And yeah, it's just a book I'm really proud of. And I think for those who enjoyed the first volume with the first 2 stories in there, those were good stories. I was happy with how they turned out, but I really feel there's a palpable level up with this book, with the 2 stories we have here. Not only do I feel like my writing is better, but I feel like I've got a better grasp of the format and the characters, but I think like the whole creative team is leveled up from their already high level to really be gelling with each other. That's like Joe and JP Jordan in colours and Sean Lee in letters. They're all just like, gelled so well here, and it's like it's a really great visual artifact.
Yeah, absolutely. And Joe, I mean, this has given you an opportunity to again stretch a little bit. Like each story, it takes place in like a new location in this world. But what's been fun for you to tackle this series?
John scripts are the number one fun thing because his scripts are so vivid. Like you're reading a John Lee's book. You're I've been lucky enough to check in on like Sync and the way in similarities John just brought up, the way he has uh similarities in creating a universe with Sync, and Alex fulfills and completes them out beautifully on the art side. He has the same thing here with Grawlgore and Shanks. So Grawlgore and Shanks has an undercurrent running through all of it, but you can pick up any issue, and you can jump right in and know who the characters are. There's not too many moving pieces, but it's kind of like those magic eye things you used to watch years ago. Like the more you stare at it, you start to see more things when you unfocus your eyes. Like there is a lot of um not just reoccurring themes, just there's more to the story if you keep reading them. But if you just gave one issue to any one person, they could read it complete and have a great time. I'm a big fan of John's writing. Getting to work with John is great. I've never thought I would have to really work hard on laying out and eventually drawing I don't know if we call it a dwarf off, but a dwarf a dance scene in a bar where that would have to be part of a combatant tournament. I don't want to give away too much of that story, but that was super fun. Yeah, John's script throws you some curveballs sometimes, but it's fun to kind of figure out the puzzle.
Yeah, George Biggs hopping on his wife's account says he can't wait for issue 3. Seems like forever since I read the first 4 scripts. So George,
yeah, this is like an advertisement for my Patreon page. George was an elite tier backer for a while, and as part of that, like one of the packages was like the top ticket backers get access to some like in development stuff, and I'd shared like scripts for the early issues of Grawlgore and Shanks with that. And like George was really encouraging. Like George has just been great in general. He's a big Sync fan. He's really kind of showed up and supported that series, and he's supported Grawlgore and Shanks as well. And like, yeah, as he says, it was a while ago that happened. So like, I think like one of the first things I did when I started getting in Joe's pages for issue 3 is I sent a message to George going like, issue 3's happening, because that was George's favorite, if I remember at the time.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really exciting to see this kind of take shape now.
Yeah, absolutely. And shout out to John's Patreon. Great place to check out original prose stories from him each week or each month. And
don't be overselling
like each week. Behind the scenes and lots of other comic stuff. But don't worry, John. You're warming up to it. We'll get you doing a story a week. Yeah. So awesome stuff, Joe. By any chance you want to give us just a little peek on what you got on the table there? I don't know if there's anything that you can show there.
I'm trying to actively do the layouts for the last big prologue scene. I can't say it because it's the end of the 4th issue is I guess we could say it's a cliffhanger, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair, John? Or
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
yes.
It's a little cliffhanger to like optimistically lay some breadcrumbs for some more stories coming afterwards.
Yep. So I'm gonna say right now, if I showed this to anyone, it's gibberish. Like I can, but if you can make this out, then you probably have some sort of Sherlock Holmesian type brain.
Yeah, maybe you could be a mystery solver on par with Von Grawlgore.
Listen, it's possible. What I want to know is with the Kickstarter, with the campaign. I had 2 people ask me this, and they're like, "Who's the more popular? Like Batman and Robin. Batman is more popular than Robin. Sherlock Holmes and Watson. Sherlock Holmes is the more popular one. I don't know that I could pick who's more popular between Grawlgore or Shanks."
Yeah, I mean, I like them both, obviously, you say, but yeah, and I get what you mean, like, because like obviously, like I think like orcs are just really cool design wise, like
yeah,
big green skin, big teeth, claws, stuff like that. And I know like I just think like generally speaking, like in terms of the fantasy races, like orcs are kind of popular, but I like a good dwarf as well. I think they're always pretty cool. But yeah, no, I think they both have their kind of moments. And what I like about these particular two stories is that both characters get some time in the sun. Like I think like issue 3, you have like Shanks kind of really comes to the fore in that one, and he gets some kind of really cool character moments, and you get to see more of what makes him tick beyond just being the kind of grumpy guy in the background. He kind of gets a really good character showcase in issue 3. Then in issue 4 we flip things around, and Shanks is kind of like off screen for much of or off panel for much of issue 4, and it's a proper like Grawlgore story, and you find out like what makes his thought process tick. So I think it's really fun to showcase both these characters, and like each issue in its own way is a showcase for one of the two characters.
Well, I gotta say, there is a moment in 4 that really shows you the. It's just very transformative for me drawing Grawlgore. Like, there's one scene where you're like, "Oh, really? Really? This is what it is." I'm like, I didn't know that that's the kind of guy he was. Like, we've never had to delve into that aspect of him. So now I'm like, oh man, if we go on and do other stuff here, we're like, we could really, like, you could almost. I'm not going to give too much away, but I'll, for the people who are watching this, like, almost like a Conan version of Grawlgore, like, where it's like, take no business, take no crap, take care of business type attitude.
Yeah, no, that's one of the things. I think they touch on it on both these issues, like the idea, and also even in the earlier issues, this idea that Vaughn has had this like long and storied career as an adventurer, and he's like, that's all behind me now. I just want to make clothes. I don't want to adventure anymore. Kind of like in Space Jam, and like Michael Jordan's like, I don't want to play basketball anymore. I just want to do golf. Like, felt like he's one of the old.
I'm gonna annoy you right now. I've never seen Space Jam, but thanks for spoiling it. You know what I mean?
This is not like the opening credits of the movie or the opening scenes of the movie. It's a setup.
Okay.
Like, we don't want. It's not spoiling the end of it. So
Wait, I have to ask Joe: have you seen Terminator or Terminator 2 yet? Having now done several issues of Terminator.
No,
I've seen Terminator 3, but not 1 or 2.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
I'm pretty sure I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger do a Terminator skit on Saturday Night Live, but that's the extent.
You're like, no, I get it. I got it.
I'm gonna drop a hot take here. Terminator 1 and 2, good movies. You should check them out.
Yeah.
It's not great. I have had such a conversation already with my wife and kids, but I think I said something the other day, which I think it was my wife. She was like, I can't believe that's a sentence that's to come out of your mouth. I was like, this is the summer I see Back to the Future. And she's like, that's just obscene that you have to say that or whatever. And I was like, this is it. I'm doing it this summer. It's going to happen.
I want literally like the time frame has been so long. You could literally make a Back to the Future sequel where present day Joe travels back in time, the same amount of time that Martin McFly travels back to the first time someone told Joe Mulvey to watch Back to the Future.
Yeah, and I love the sequel where he actually goes to the future, is now in the past. That's how long it's been. You know what? Whatever you say, what you want about Joe Mulvey. He. the funny thing is like this could be kind of a fun game show. It's just like, has Joe seen this movie? Because it's not like Joe doesn't watch movies. Joe sees a lot of movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun pair because like literally mine, but maybe like probably a solid 70 to 90% of like my means of communicating with people is going, it's like that and certain really like niche like reference to a film. So
listen, I've seen Knives Out. I've seen Lord of the Rings. I'm 100% there, guys.
Yeah. John, like I'm curious, like with some of these, because the other thing about Grawlgore and Shanks, unlike some other series where it's like, all right, well, I've got these characters and I'm telling one story, right, and I'm just telling chapters of a story each one. Like each Grawlgore and Shanks adventure, whether it be a prose story or each of the chapters that you've done so far, and I think you've written 8 total scripts already for comic scripts, plus I think we've got at least 5 self-contained separate prose shorts. As you are doing this, what's coming first from, because like the thing about like mystery and mystery storytelling is like you've got to have the mystery, right? But has the mystery itself been the thing that's coming, or is it more like a moment, a world? Like, has there anything been different about writing these kinds of stories versus other things in your process?
I mean, like as if you could bear with me for the long and labored description of it, but it's actually like a quite involved process where, in terms of the creation of Grawlgore and Shanks, the initial premise came. I've always wanted to do like something like for a long time, like going back like at least a decade now. I've had this idea of wanting to do a murder mystery set in the world of like high fantasy, and that can go back as far back as like back in like 2015 when Ian Laurie and I had finished and then Emily was gone, and we were going to pitch something, and we pitched a series called A Fork of Tongues, which was a kind of murder mystery in a fantasy setting, although that was much more kind of like folk horror-y, and it kind of took a much darker turn than this. But like that, and I think me and Ian were both devastated. We pitched that everywhere, and like nobody wanted it. I think this was like a year before The Witch, and everyone was like, folk horror. I don't think anyone's doing that now, like so, like. But even though that project eventually went by the wayside, it's always been in my head of like I wanted to do like something with that. So like years passed, and then I came up with these two. I actually came up with the characters first. I came up with like Vaughn, Grawlgore, and Arlog Shanks, and we're both kind of like fully formed in my head, like this idea of like this dwarf who was a kind of like a fancy tailor who was like this kind of like almost Fraser Crane like, with his big words and kind of this kind of pompous, loquacious demeanor, and then he has this kind of like orc heavy who's kind of like outwardly sullen but has a heart of gold. So I had the characters, but I'm like, okay, let's try to come up with like an overarching story. And like every time I tried to do that, I kind of got so caught up in the weeds. This is something that's kind of maybe resistant to doing fantasy and also like maybe sci-fi as well. But I think sometimes you can get so caught up in the minutiae of the world and the rules in the lore and the kind of like the history of this place, you're trying to build it all up, that kind of like you lose sight of the story. I think that's something I've noticed as a fantasy reader as well, that it's hard to just pick up a fantasy book. It's always like book one in the incomplete 27-part Goblin Balls saga or something like like, so I had this idea of like, why don't we try and like, rather than like getting overwhelmed and building up this big, massive, convoluted world, let's start really grounded. Let's focus right in on the characters, what are they doing, and let the world build out organically from there. So I started, like with the first story, I started like, building up the premise of that. It was a kind of murder mystery. There's this beast that's killing things. And from that came the idea of, like the old things and the old unexplained, the mysteries of the world are slowly fading away, and the idea of like magic being outlawed, that kind of came organically. And then I was able to start, as I was writing, like drawing elements in the world, kind of started to gradually like build almost like in the process of writing. So over the course of writing these scripts, I discovered the idea of like actually there's a recurring theme of classism and elitism running through this society, and the idea of a world where a war is like finished, but it's not really been resolved. There's a kind of like almost kind of lingering Cold War and the effects of conflict. And then like, the idea, so like in this idea, this old conflict and this old war, that's kind of like the little like remnants of it are put through the world like scars, and they kind of always seem to come back into the mysteries, like this wizard Cole Lane, who you never actually see, but was like the kind of great villain of this old war from like decades ago. And like, so all the kind of mysteries seem to kind of like refer back to him in some way, or there's always some element of him coming into it. So it ended up being a real interesting process in discovering a world through your characters. We're like, okay, rather than trying to develop a world and write a story, let's just come up with some really, nuanced characters. Let's create an episodic format where every story is its own self-contained thing. So rather than kind of getting caught up in it, like we're doing like in and out standalone mysteries, but then let's see if we can build a world naturally through just discovering it and just like letting stories play out in it. It's been a really rewarding process. Now I feel like I've got I probably could now go back and do a big kind of like guidebook about the lore of the world that I've kind of like spent all these stories, like fleshing it out, but it's been an organic process. I think that helped with creativity as well, rather than like, being caught up and trying to do that before I wrote a word.
Yeah, like when you were working on issue 1, I was like, "Hey, do we have a map? Maybe we'll make up a map." And you're like, "I don't have a map. We're making this stuff as we go along. Come on now." But it's like the cool thing is when you have your characters as defined as and as rich as Grawlgore and Shanks, you can build the other stuff around them, much like I think most D&D worlds, right? Like, you roll a great character and you can drop those characters into different settings, different adventures, different things, and it's gonna be a good time.
And I will say, as I said aside, since you brought it up, that was actually really helpful in discovering the characters. I actually started getting back into playing D&D with my friends, and I actually trialed running both like Vaughn, Grawlgore, and then like currently Arlog Shanks as my D&D characters, and that helped so much in terms of figuring out their personality and their voices and stuff like that.
Yeah, and another great thing about just doing these Kickstarters, especially with an artist like Joe who is game for it, is it's a great example to or a great opportunity to get original art into backers' hands, into our biggest fans' hands. Joe has been doing an amazing job. I just popped on to see what's moved. So the original cover A for this new book sold. The chapter 2 cover sold. The 1 or 2C cover art featuring the Queen and the new evil orc sold. A piece from last year's launch sold. Page 14, page 3. Well, it looks like page 20 is still available. That's an awesome page that is still available. Page 2 sold, page 16 sold, and then a whole bunch of really great Mulvey sketches have been selling to backers. There are a couple left. Looks like there's a few left. We'll probably get maybe one or two more up before the campaign is over. But shout out to Joe for really doing an awesome job getting so much original art and making so much original art available during this launch. So what else, guys? This is a sort of summer. Summer's a big movie time. Any other media out there catching your eye, or anything that you think fans of Grawlgore and Shanks might like, or just what else you guys want to talk about?
The Odyssey. You know what I mean? That looks like a good fun time buddy comedy.
Lot of laughs.
Everyone knows Christopher Nolan is the Mel Brooks of his time, but I'll be honest with you. There's so many good movies out and in theaters and all that stuff, and I obviously have seen none of them, but I do want to see everything. I want to see my kids just saw the last Toy Story, said that was great. I think this is a really good summer for the theaters.
Matt Damon hasn't been this hilarious since Stuck on You.
His comedic genius. But Greg Kinnear sadly did not make the cut for Christopher Nolan's films. Yeah, but I would say at the heart of Lord of the Rings, when there was the humor element, rings very true in the Grawlgore and Shanks universe. Like when Merry or Pippin tweaked the arrow in the first movie, and Gandalf's just like fool of a took, and he starts yelling at him like you're or whatever. Like that's very much the humor of this book, because Grawlgore in his just his personality is very chipper, very I would say tender, except for this last issue, but very tender. And he is genuinely what you would call, I guess, like a good time go-to person. Like if you're gonna have a drink with either Grawlgore or Shanks, it's gonna be with Grawlgore. But then the counterpoint to that is Shanks is the I guess the muscle that backs him up a lot, but also he is the darker nature, because orcs in the books world, orcs have been pretty much not even second class, like fifth class citizens, and they were looked on very negatively after this war that John speaks about that we don't really see. And even in the last issue, we see a little bit more of how Arlo Shanks, our main character orc, is maybe atypical from his group of people, his own people. So I think the idea that you could sit down and watch how like those elements in the original Lord of the Rings movies do translate really well to this book. But to be completely sincere, this book veers off in its own way and is such its own thing and universe. Like if I was reading comics, I would want to see this as a movie. Obviously, maybe we get The Rock as Arlo Shanks, and we just get Kevin Hart as Grawlgore. I don't know. Maybe we have a shot in the future. Who's to say?
That's an inspired casting, Joe.
Kevin Hart, but he'd still need the big orange bushy beard. But it would still
No,
be
he still needs it. It goes without saying. Yes. Yeah, he's still a ginger. Yeah.
Yeah, and I will just say, like, for the folks out there, you know, the economy it being what it is. I know a lot of people are like talking about inflation and everything. In terms of bang for your buck, these Grawlgore and Shanks books pack a wallop. Just gorgeous printing. Comics Tribe, you know how we do it. But like 2 feature-length stories. We throw in some additional prose, lots of cool back matter as well. But these are just great tomes, loaded with value, and definitely for your Kickstarter buck. We've got a number of really good covers to check out. Joe's done a couple of them. We also have covers by C.P. Wilson and Adam Cahoon, right? Yep. He's got the wrap around. And yeah, it's been just a really fun campaign to pull together because, you know, when you're working with quality stuff and top-notch books, it's just really fun to pull it together and to make it happen.
I think we have to give you your flowers as well, Tyler, because like, you know, your campaigns are always absolute, like, you know, dynamos. And like you mentioned, like the books that Comics Tribe produce are always like top quality. Like I've got Volume 1 sitting here, and like you say, not just the kind of content in it, we have like we've got together 2 stories, we've got all the back matter, we've got the prose stories, so it feels like a substantial collected edition. And like even like, you know, like when these eventually come out, like, you know, in a direct market or whatever, it won't be this book. You'll only get this version on Kickstarter with the prose and the extra content. But I think one thing that beyond the actual content in the book, just as a physical artifact, Comics Tribe books always love it. Like I love the glossy like sheen of this. I love the paper quality of the interiors. Like literally when I have this book at conventions, people always just like to kind of like, you know, rub their hands on it and be like, you know, this is a good feeling book. And yes, like I think like Comics Tribe, you always knew you're going to get quality when you back a Comics Tribe Kickstarter.
Yeah, absolutely. And so over the next couple of days, while the campaign wraps, we've got one more stretch goal to unveil. Hopefully, we can.
Are you going to give any hints or any kind of teasers?
I'm going to give no hints. No, it's just going to be Joe is going to we'll fly to one backer's house and draw a mustache on them while they're sleeping.
Are we going to be going? Me and Joe are both going to go fly out to you, and like we're going to kill like somebody you know, and then we're going to stage an elaborate mystery for you to solve. Like it's going to be a curated Grawlgore and Shanks.
It's going to be like Glass Onion, where there's like an arrow shoots in your heart and little blood spurts out of it. Like yes,
yeah,
I'm in. I just found my batch of Grawlgore and Shanks sketch covers, so I will bang out 1 or 2 sketch covers.
Nice.
And then send you guys photos over. Do we have requests? I know I'm a little behind. What was the last one? I did a Skeletor, right? I did Skeletor, Grifter. Who was the other one? I don't know. There's others. I know there were some others, but what do you think?
Yeah. Let me see.
Maybe a Mr. Dig. Should I do a Mr. Dig to like?
I'm biased, but yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe
Mr. Dig and like some finery.
Oh my God, Mr. Dig being measured by Grawlgore. Oh, that's it. Mr. Dig being measured by Grawlgore. That's the thing.
Okay. Yeah, no, like speaking about Kickstarter rewards and stretch goals, like as I've mentioned on my socials, I'm particularly excited about the t-shirt that we've just unlocked. That was the latest stretch goal we just unlocked, like a Grawlgore and Shanks t-shirt with the design chosen by the backers. And I love my Comics Tribe pack. I'm currently wearing like
nice.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I'm rocking a Wailing Blade.
Yeah. And Joe can't stand up because he's the one odd man out.
We should have told Joe there was a dress code.
I know, I didn't know, guys. I just went with 4th of July-ish stuff. But okay.
But like, yes, I love like I just like love when I love when something becomes tangible, when you've created something like that kind of like exists in other forms outside of the comic, whether it be like my Mr. Dig plushie, which is in the background and over there, or like something like a t-shirt. So yeah, I'm really excited to kind of see what design the backers choose and what design to go for, and yeah, I'm really excited for that to be added to the campaign.
Yeah, it's also awesome when people show up at conventions rocking tees of your characters. I'm sure you've probably seen a few of those at Thought Bubble now and again, John.
Yeah, no, like I remember like I'm not sure if he's still in the chat, but like when I met George at Heroes Con, I recognized him before he even got to the table. I was like, oh, there's a guy in a Mr. Dig t-shirt. That's going to be George. And sure enough, it was. So yeah, it's kind of cool to when you see them out in the wild. Now, yeah, I have actually seen a few people at Thought Bubble as well rocking Sync or Comic Stripe themed t-shirts. So it's always a nice little bit of gratification to know that people like support your stuff enough to kind of wear it on their bodies.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And speaking of cons, you guys have any coming up? Any on the schedule for you?
I do. I have coming up next month. I can say next month because somehow we're in July already. But next month, on the 8th of August, I am a featured guest at Sequential Scotland here in Glasgow, which is like it's a new kind of like, it launched last year and it was a big success, and this one seems to be bigger. It's like Scotland for a little while. Like we've had shows, but they've been much more like focused on like maybe like sort of collectors stuff or cosplay, or kind of like film and TV guests. Like that's kind of been what's been more prominent. But this is like a proper like comics focused. Like it's much like Thought Bubble. Like comics are the star. Like it's like all about kind of like promoting like the comics medium and the comics guests. And like last year's show was amazing. Like it was really inspiring to see like all these young Scottish creators, like and news creators, like doing stuff again. And so like I was really impressed with the first year, and this year like they've invited me as a guest to kind of like one of the headliners, and I think it's going to be a really fun show again. Like if you're in Scotland or the UK in general, you should check it out. I think it's a really cool show on the rise. And then later in the year in Thought Bubble, in November, I'm back to Harrogate for Thought Bubble, which is the UK's #1 Comic-Con. I'm really excited to be back for that.
Awesome. Joe, you got any shows coming up?
None. Not doing a single one. But I'm thinking I keep wanting to go to Thought Bubble. I'll be honest with you. I've been in this vein lately of just like getting my head down, trying to do as much work as possible. But then, you get those rumblings of like, oh, everyone just came. What was just recently? Heroes? Was Heroes? Yes, Heroes was like a couple weeks ago. And everyone just like the outpouring of, oh my God, how great that show is. And then,
Heroes.
Yeah, I keep wanting to go. And then my own stupidity, I was like, all right, well, I still have kids that like me, so I don't want to duck out on Father's Day. I don't want to like miss it. And then this year it was like the week before Father's Day. And I was like, damn it. I was like, I should have. Yeah. I should have.
I'd love to get you to Heroes to Thought Bubble as well. Like, if only to like, because I think like having like you and Fraser Campbell hanging out again and put like, like a banner singularity.
Oh, I would have a great time. Hopefully more shows next year.
Yeah. Good stuff. So yeah, the campaign will go for another 55 hours or so.
Always makes me nervous when it switches from days to hours. It feels like,
yeah, it gets real. That's when, and also, I mean, the Kickstarter, the way Kickstarter works is like, that's also when things start to get real for all right, are you sure you're in? And so like a lot of creators, like right around this time, we'll see like sometimes like the campaigns drop a little bit before there's a surge because people are like, I gotta get out, or suddenly
get back out, like,
yeah. So anyway, we appreciate all the backers that stick around and all the backers
that above the like threshold for funding goal that even if a couple to drop out, it shouldn't.
Yeah, that like It's always nice when you get to the
All right,
point where
Uncle
like
Jinxie. Uncle Jinxie Foot.
Saying, forget I said that.
Yeah.
we just
We're
lost
so-
130 back.
Yeah, we're doing so great. We don't need the blood transfusions. The medicine's taking.
Yeah, it's just like well,
Listen,
now it's
if-
finally now
if-
John can finally
here's-
admit
here's
that
what-
his name was in the Epstein files.
Well, wait a second. When the Mulvey files come out is when there's going to be a real problem. John Lee is all over that. But the other thing is, if we get to the next stretch goal, I'm hearing that John Lee's will come back to the United States. So
That's the
I heard
secret.
you'll come back to the Coastal 48 and make your great return. That's the next stretch goal.
Yeah. John,
Confirm or deny. I'm going into shock jock mode. Confirm or deny, John Lees.
well, yeah, it's been great hanging out with you guys and just getting caught up on all things Grawlgore and Shanks. We should also just, since John is here, there's new sync coming right around the corner as well.
I'm hoping like it's going to be like a kind of smooth kind of like the Grawlgore and Shanks campaign wraps up, and then like in short order like we're going to have like the next sync one in the not too distant future. I can say I'm really excited about this campaign. It's called Sync Pineapple, and it is
Sorry.
and it is a murder mystery giallo set inside a sex dungeon, which is like the most John Lee's pitch possible. And yeah, so it brings back fan favorite characters, Kieran and Louise, and following their latest adventures as they go to like Glasgow's #1 BDSM hotspot called Dungeon Fun, which is an inside joke. It's named after like another popular Scottish comic, which is like an all ages fantasy book called Dungeon Fun.
Now, did you check with Colin if he was cool?
Colin, with his blessing, that we got to use that name. And then what happens when people at the party start dropping dead? So yes, it's like I wrote the two scripts, a two-parter, like as much like the Grawlgore and Shanks. It's gonna be 2 issues in one, and these 2 issues I wrote for this are among like my favorite scripts I've ever written for Sync. I've already said that like Sync 10 is still to this day like one of my favorite things I've ever had published, and this kind of builds on that. I can still go back and read the scripts and cackle and go, haha, that was really funny. And like it's like the characters at the 4, like I think Kieran and Louise are like really likable characters, and like, there's a lot of like monsters in the world of Sync, so it's nice when you have some like weirdos that you actually want to root for and kind of like hope for their happiness. So this will be a fun one. I'm really excited when we get rolling on this. Like the pages that have been coming in from Alex are incredible. Like I'm sure like he must be like mortified, like anyone looking over his shoulder when he's drawing some of the stuff I'm asking for him to draw. I'm like, I just keep on like, there's all these notes in the script, like Alex, you're gonna have to Google like muscle daddy and human pup.
Yeah. Alex,
You've got Alex on many watch lists just from his Google searches. You're like,
yeah.
How does one draw a pineapple being exploded from a concerned anus? Was that in the script? Was it?
Yeah, Alex was like, I don't know what's up with my Instagram feed lately. It's all nipple clamps.
I know. And Ashley's like, wow, Alex, all right. It is what it is. I'm not going to judge. And they're up there, and all of a sudden, all their Vermont neighbors are like looking at them. They're like, there they go. There they go.
we can invite them now.
There they are. Hashtag syrup sisters. Hashtag whatever. There's all different Vermont things, dude. All different ones.
Yeah. All this to say, like if you want some prime deviance, thankfully Kickstarter have backtracked on their banning obscene content for now, so you get this book while you can.
Yeah. And it's funny because like I've already like made a lot, like most of the new Sync campaign has been built, but I don't know if you guys have been seeing like the reports of or just like the issues that creators have been having with like not even just more of the not safe for work sort of of purient natures and sexual nature stuff, but also like violence and blood. Like some people have just been getting like, oh, this cover too bloody, this page too bloody. And I'm like, oh, well,
my bread and butter is like,
if you look at a lot of like I mean, even the past sync campaign pages, like I'm wondering,
it's
see.
genuinely fascinating to me, like, like to see this unfold. And eventually I'll probably write a newsletter piece about it. It's actually in like my, like, I'll have a little document of like potential, like sort of topics for future newsletters. And one of them is called Horny Comics for Perverts.
It's subtle. It's really subtle.
but what I've noticed
but we get it. Yeah.
Like what I've noticed is that like for after years, like literally like over a decade, I have been writing some of the most like vile, monstrous, violent, brutal comics, and I've openly shared like promo on Kickstarter of beheadings and dismemberments and disembowelings and amputations with no issue whatsoever. Even in this past year, I shared an image on Instagram of somebody whose head had been hollowed out and turned into like tatty bogo. Like,
turn into a pumpkin, like carved like a pumpkin.
And not a single issue, nothing whatsoever. The only time in all of my years making comics that I've had stuff get, like, I've got messages from Meta saying we've removed your promo piece and giving you a warning, has been when I've been promoting Orla, and I've been sharing like very tame, like, like nudity, like for example, like a cartoon butt, because like someone standing with their back to us and you can see like a single butt cheek. Like, or it's like two partially clothed characters sitting in the edge of a bed kissing, like very mild PG-13 like stuff, I would say. And like it's been like, this is the extreme sexual content, we're going to have to block this, it's too upsetting for reviewers. It's like, wow, that's the line. Like not like so it got to the point now whenever this would happen, like saying, because it happens in Blue Sky as well, I'd get like, we put a tag on your post, so now like it's like people have to click on it says explicit nudity, and you click on it and it's like I say it's an arse. So that every time this happens now, I'll post a reply saying just making sure this is still okay, and I post an image from the same comic where like Orla's like giant, ick monster alter ego is ripping a guy's arms off, and kind of like the blood spurting from the thumbs. That always gets by fine. But yeah, it's been it's fascinating to see like what's deemed acceptable and what isn't.
Yeah, it's a strange world that we're in here, and you never know until. And I also wonder, like, to the extent of like how much this stuff is even being checked by humans anymore, and if they've got a butt bot or a violence bot where like all you'd have to do is like tweak the color on your blood a little bit, or throw a shade over it, and all of a sudden it's not going to register.
But don't worry, like I've looked through the artwork for sort of like issue 17 of Sync, for Sync Pineapple, and I found like 4 panels that we'll be able to use quite reliably, in promo.
So we could just rotate those. That's right. That's the benefit of standing on the shoulder of a backlog of work that people love. It's you could probably in a lot of ways get away with just well, we can show you this.
Just the reactions of like Alex reading the comic.
We temporarily lost Joe.
I thought he was so disgusted with this like filthy talk. He's like, I'm leaving.
No, you can hear me now, right? You can hear me. So I started saying things, but I started saying the actual social media names. I won't, because obviously they heard me and they blocked me. So what I will say is, John, maybe it's not the social media companies so much picking up on one thing rather than the cumulative effect of your career with smut. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe it's not even like, oh, John Lees has posted, red flag. It doesn't matter if it's, if it's just anything, if you I'll be honest with you. And I say this as a father, as a Christian, I'm uncomfortable with some of the bathing suits photos you put out there. But at the same time,
maybe it's like all those like speedo selfies, like post when working.
That's what it is.
It's built up a sense of like there's like some aggressive sexual energy coming from this guy. I'm gonna have to keep that.
I just want to make sure that like going forward, John Lee's like in your rider for any panels or anything, it has to say John Lee's award-winning writer, comma, pervert Bigfoot.
Pervert Bigfoot, yes.
Pervert Bigfoot. That's the only thing that you should be known for.
I also think the second to P Diddy, the most baby oil in Europe, or the most baby oil in the Scottish lands. Like, yes, you're not going to be P Diddy. You don't have the money. Don't be shamed.
Well, there's no way they use actual Johnson & Johnson baby oil in Scotland. They got to use something else.
Probably for Johnson & Johnson. They know like it's been a modern innovation that has arrived here as well.
It is Johnson & Johnson, but it's two different Johnsons, if you know what I'm talking about, Tyler, okay? It's two different Johnsons making the oil.
Yeah. Well, boys, as always, awesome to hang out with y'all. Joe's got some more great stuff to work on as he wraps this issue. And he's also cranking out some additional pieces here, so that's exciting.
Yep, I'm gonna have them over to you by tonight to put this on. I'll put a few sketch covers up, go crazy with a few of them, have some fun, and you can chuck them in the campaign. And Ty, thanks for all you do. You're a Kickstarter guru, a legend amongst the platform.
The thing, then, like, you are like the engine that keeps this all running. We're all indebted to you, Tyler, and your stellar work.
Well, it's a pleasure to work with y'all and make sure that we get these books out into the world and, connect with fans. And, it's fun because there are a lot of fans out there that are just like, hey, you guys make it easy for me to back projects on Kickstarter because everything they back from the Comics Tribe is worth supporting. So we just, we couldn't do it without the fans and couldn't do it without that support. But
I'm continually amazed by like the loyalty and the support of our readers. Every campaign we launch, like, it's gratifying all over again to know they still believe in us and they're still, willing to wait like the time it takes between campaigns, and they're always gonna come back. And so like your passion, like I think Comics Tribe readers are some of the best in all of comics, and like really I don't take it for granted the faith you place in us, and I just hope to live up to your support and your belief in us. And I'm confident that you won't be disappointed when you see the end product that's coming.
I genuinely cannot wait to see Sink and the Pineapple Posse just grow as big as is humanly possible. I think this is gonna be a great thing for comics, but it's gonna be Sink Pineapple is gonna be the next big term, and I'm very excited for it.
It's obviously that kind of like the meeting point of like the two very lucrative revenue streams of like comics and arse.
Well, John, there's a reason that Sink rhymes with kink, right?
Yeah.
Let's just lay into it. All right, that's it. That's how we roll.
Obviously, and we're just gonna have Grawlgore and Shanks have less clothes going forward, just to kind of
Yeah. In the next book, when it's Grawlgore and Spanks. And that's how we kind of worm our way in there,
Yeah, that's it.
Because here's the thing:
Grawlgore and Spanks.
Grawlgore and Spanks. Yep, that's the one shot. The one shot. Okay. Got it.
All right, folks. Well, thanks everybody. We've got 54 hours to go, but it's been great spending a little time with y'all. And
don't forget comicstribe.com/KS. That'll take you right to the campaign. Loads of great options. Still got time to back it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody.